Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Charnow, leading the next generation of football fans live on the Hard Count Football YouTube channel, and of course, right here on 1252 Sports Chicago. Guys, it's May 15th. I missed a week with everybody last week. I took the week off. I wasn't feeling too good. So I am back this week with a ton to talk about because this week on Wednesday night or Thursday night, the NFL schedule came out. The schedule release happened. We have our full week one slate. We had the slate for, we have a lot of rivalry matchups. Obviously, we have a ton of revenge games. Even just in week one, we have a few. And of course, NFL news around the league. We'll get Harry in here in just a second. We're going to talk about some all the schedule stuff, some baseball, because my Yankees are playing his White Sox right now, and so we're obviously going to get into that just a little bit. And I have a few narratives that I want to put to bed with him today. About some stuff around the league. So with that being said, I say we get him in here right now. Harry, how you doing, man? What's going on? How are you?
Jacob, thanks for having me on. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing really, really well. It's early. I'm inside. You're outside, right by the pool, Harry. What's the weather looking like over there in Florida?
Honestly, it's been zero humidity for the past week. It's been absolutely beautiful. Highs in the mid upper 80s. Right now, it's about 75 degrees outside. Sun's out, guns out. Just beautiful day. Beautiful Florida day.
It's been nice out here in Jersey. It's been in the 70s. It's been humid. Today it gets nice. It's actually going to go up to 81 today.
Really?
81 and a little bit of sun. Some clouds though. Fog to start this morning, but it'll go away sooner.
A little foggy.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's always foggy. It's always gross. Harry, there's a lot to talk about. You want to start off before we get into all this football stuff? The Yankees are playing the White Sox right now. What are you seeing from that series over there right now?
I'll tell you what, man, the Yankees are everything plus what they advertise. This is a very, very, very strong baseball team. He says, by and large, they're probably the best team in baseball. They could still use some more arms, but they beat the brakes off the White Sox 2 games in a row, and then they ran into their kryptonite. Arguably one of the worst pitchers in baseball just stifled them yesterday because they can't hit breaking balls. I mean, this New York Yankee team from top to bottom, they can just absolutely crush fastball pitch. Just crush them. Just absolutely crush them. I don't care who you put on the mound. You put a guy out there that can throw 75, 80, top out at 85, 86 miles an hour, and it's like they're lost. Anyway, White Sox finally won again today. Today they're going up against Michael Kopech from the White Sox. The guy's literally been unhittable this year. But then again, here comes a power pitcher going up against a power lineup. Should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll be watching that game.
And FYI, in case people didn't know, Aaron Judge, he's really good. Don't pitch to him.
He's really good at baseball. The Yankees seem to not realize that, though, because they have yet to pay the man, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. I think they need to.
You can't get him out
immediately.
No, You can't get the guy out. There's runners on base, and you got a power pitcher up there. Just concede the run, because if the bases are loaded, it's better than giving them 4. Trust me. Just concede the run. He's that good. I haven't seen a player like him since the early stages of Cabrera from the Dodgers. That's who I'm going to compare him to, and he's one of the all-time greatest.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge is fantastic. And I think the Yankees have done a nice job of, they've had the same lineup, even though it's been different names, it's been the same lineup, same type of players for the last 2 decades now. And now, the fact that they're realizing it, they're taking the step, they're putting in lefties, they're putting in guys that are going to hit singles and do all that. It really creates for a dynamic lineup that they haven't had in a while. And now, now the team's really, really good. What are they, 24-9?
No, I think they're even better than that. Look, man, the top of their lineup, their first 2 table setters, okay, are better than 90% of the team's 3 and 4 hole hitters. Just analyze that. Their 7th, 8th, their bottom of the lineup is just as good as 50% of the people's 3 and 4 hitters. I mean, they just run producing machine. I mean, it's just I haven't seen anything like this in years. And I'll tell
Yeah,
you what, the Achilles heel for the New York Yankees has been injuries. Roberto Hernandez keeps preaching it to me. He says it's whoever can stay healthy. But I'll tell you what, there's a team on the other side of that city that I like even better than those New York Yankees, and those are the New York Mets. My God, is that team they're just balling out, man. That team is really good, and they
yeah,
actually have the pitching. They don't have the sticks like like they do over in the Bronx, but I'll tell you what, they sure as hell got that pitching. But don't
yeah,
count my White
but
Sox out. Don't count my White Sox out. When they get healthy, when Eloy Jimenez comes back, and you get Lance Lynn back, and you get all these people coming back, that's a dangerous team because they not only got good hitting, they got the pitching. And Luis Robert, you know what? It took a game like that last night. Again, power pitcher, ninth inning. They brought in Liam Hendriks, Chicago's closer, to get 5 outs in the eighth inning. He gave up the tie-in run. Power pitcher. But in the bottom of the ninth, Luis Robert got Tim Anderson home, drove in the winning run. Those type of games against those type of teams for those type of wins can ignite a team to propel them forward. That's what I'm going to say. Don't count
yeah,
those White Sox out. They're good.
yeah. But my problem overall with you talk about the Mets. The Mets. This is prime Mets time, isn't it? The first like 2 months of the year. For however, first couple months, then we get into the summer, and then as we get closer to September and October, this team starts to fall apart a little bit. Um, and you were talking about staying healthy. This is a team that has yet to prove that they can stay healthy consistently. Same thing with the Yankees, but the Mets. I don't think they have the hitting, and I don't. The Yankees, they obviously, if the Mets are healthy, they have the pitching to do it. Right? They have probably the best starting rotation when healthy in baseball, but the Yankees, they have these guys like these utility guys who consistently come in and pitch well, you
Yep.
know? And not to mention we have the best pitcher in baseball in Nasty Nestor Cortez, He's, feared the stash, Harry. But there's a lot of baseball left to be played. It's only May. We're just
Yep.
getting started
They
here.
just have to stay healthy. But in regards to the New York Mets, there's something different about this team this year.
I,
They look a
we'll see.
lot different than I've seen before in the past. This team is really good in the National League. They were my dark horse team. From the start of the season, I thought this team was going to be really good. There was just something about them,
Yeah.
and it started 2 years ago when they couldn't stay healthy. Yep, they just couldn't stay healthy, and then they were pretty decent ball club. And then last year they were pretty damn good. This year I was like, ooh, this team's going to be really dangerous. Everybody's always focusing on the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants. They're forgetting about this team up on the East Coast called the New York Mets. I know that's a bad word in your household, but they're really damn good.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll definitely see what happens. But let's get into some of this football here. We got our full schedule release, Harry. We know the schedule, we know how it's going to happen, and we know when it's going to happen. So week one, the week one slate. We have the full week one slate here. Why don't we just run through it real quick, and then we'll talk about the games we're most excited for. To start off the season, we got Thursday night football. I mean, come on, the matchup of the week, in my opinion. It's no doubt. The Buffalo Bills head to Los Angeles to SoFi to take on the Rams. That's going to be a ridiculous opening matchup. I mean, we've seen some really good ones the last couple of years. What do we have? We had Bucks Cowboys last year. That game was really good. We had, what was it, Chiefs Texans the year before that, I believe.
Yep.
And just the last 2 years, we've had some fantastic opening week one matchups. And then on Sunday, we got Eagles at Lions, Niners at Bears, Steelers at Bengals, Patriots at Dolphins, Browns at Panthers, Colts at Texans, Jags at Washington, Saints at Falcons, Ravens at Jets, Packers at Vikings, Giants at the Titans. The Raiders are playing at SoFi also against the Chargers. The Chiefs at the Cardinals. The Bucks play the Cowboys again in week one on Sunday Night Football, and then the Broncos play the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. So
Wow.
just in that slate alone, we have some really exciting matchups, right? I mentioned the Bills and the Rams. You look at, Trey Lance taking on Justin Fields. You look at The Packers and Vikings, that's a divisional matchup. The Raiders and the Chargers, two vastly improved teams this offseason playing each other. You obviously have the Bucks Cowboys matchup, which was fun last year. I have a feeling it'll be fun again. And then, I mean, come on, the Russell Wilson revenge game already in week 1 with the Broncos taking on the Seahawks right there on Monday Night Football in front of the entire country. Harry, I mean, you know the matchups. Which one are you looking forward to the most? And then I guess we'll get into each of the individualized ones.
Well, let's talk about a couple of them. Let's talk about the premier matchup, the Thursday Night Football game. The Buffalo Bills are going out to the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to tell you right now, the Rams are going to have a really bad season this year. They are not going to stay as healthy as what they once were. They were relatively healthy last year, with the exception of losing. Was it Robert Woods? No, who was it?
Yeah, they lost Robert Woods last year.
They lost Robert Woods, and who else did they lose? It was
They lost OBJ in the Super Bowl, but that wasn't.
I'm talking about in the regular season. Anyway, they're going to be a really good team, but they're not winning the Super Bowl this year. This Buffalo team was the team that was supposed to be in the Super Bowl. Okay, they are going to prove a point on the road. They're going to be an underdog, and I'm giving out an early line. Just play them on the money line. Key them in your parlays. Do it now if you want to, because I'm telling you, this team is going to come out balling in game 1.
I'll tell you the line right now. The Bills are favored. They're -1 as of right now, as of a couple months, as of
they won't be
5 months before the season.
Yeah, they won't be. They won't be. But I'll tell you what, the anticipated game I'm waiting to see are, what are the Chicago Bears? I mean, we're on 12:52. What are the Chicago Bears going to do? I mean, they're playing against San Francisco. They're at home. Very interesting schedule note, by the way. Last year was the first time that I've ever in my lifetime seen no consecutive games on the road or no consecutive games at home. They were either on the road or at home, week in, week out. They have a very, very late bye week this year, and every game in the month of December is at home. So good luck to whoever's going to Chicago in the middle of winter. That's just not fair for opposing teams, especially if you're a dome team or a nice Florida team, whoever it may be. I'm hoping it's someone from the South, but I really haven't really dug into the schedule too much. But then again, I was wrong on week 1 last year when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were hosting the Dallas Cowboys, and I was saying it's an embarrassment that this team is only a 6-point favorite, and it dropped to 5 or 5.5, and I was touting it. The Cowboys should have won that game.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, week 1 is always difficult, but I'm really most looking forward to that Buffalo Bills team. You, Jacob?
Yeah, me too. I agree. This Buffalo team is one that I think is going to win the Super Bowl this year. They're my early Super Bowl pick, as the Rams were last year. Harry, I was touting the Rams last year. They were my favorite. They
me
were
too. You and I both said it. Beginning of the season, they were winning the Super Bowl.
After they traded for Stafford was the moment I said it. I said, you give Stafford a team like he had it with the Rams. I mean, come on, like that's a loaded roster. And Stafford proved he was good enough to win the Super Bowl. As I had said for 10 years. But now it's Josh Allen's time. I think Josh Allen will finish as QB1 this season. I think this Bills team is going to continue to be dominant. They're going to continue to be dynamic. I think they will work in the run a little bit more than they did last year. And this defense, if they can be, they are improved, right? Getting Von Miller from the Rams, so a Von Miller revenge game right away as well. I mean, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and they get this. I think he's going to be a really, really good corner. Kaiir Elam from Florida in the first round of the draft.
Well, let me tell you something. Florida produces defensive players like water comes out of your faucet, and that's a no-brainer. I mean, they don't miss. Very few first-round draft picks miss coming out of the University of Florida. They really do. But better yet, Jacob, rather than talking about who we really, really like, let's talk about the playoff teams from last year in week 1. Who do you think is going to have a down year this year? I'd love your opinion on that. Does anything come to mind to you? Because one already came to mind for me.
Yeah, I do actually. I do have one that I think is going to, in terms of a playoff team, they didn't win in the first round of the playoffs, but I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys right off the bat, because you look at their team, they lose their wide receiver 1 with Amari Cooper, right? Mm-hmm. this offensive line is getting older. I know they just drafted that kid Tyler Smith, but this is a team that's getting older. Um, I don't think they're going to be as good. I think this division is going to be a lot more difficult than it was last year. My pick to win the NFC East right now is the Philadelphia Eagles. I
Yep.
honestly do think that they're going to win that division. And I mean, as obviously we'll get into more of this in as the season gets closer and all that with division winners and who we think is going to win all these divisions. But you know, the Cowboys are the main team that I'm looking at right now when I'm saying there's a real chance they have a down year. I also, I think the 49ers might not be as good as they were last year either. Because everything, listen, I know you can't buy into what the media is saying, but this stuff we're hearing about Trey Lance and not impressing the coaches in camp, and them feeling he might still not be ready. Is there a reason they haven't traded Jimmy Garoppolo yet?
Yeah, because Trey Lance isn't ready. And that's just as simple as that. I mean, if he was, trust me, Shanahan would have him ready. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry because I'm like riveted at what you're saying.
Yeah, but and then the Niners team, defensively, I think they're still going to be good, but man, I think with Trey Lance, this offense does take a step back than it did with Jimmy Garoppolo. Just because it's going to take time for him to get, if it's taking time for him to get meshed into the offense in camp, think about how long it's going to take him to get meshed in when you're playing against other teams, right? That have game planned against this offense and tried to beat the 49ers every single year for the last decade. I really don't. I think the Niners do have a down year, although I do think they might win Week 1, Harry. I think
I
this
know,
team.
and that's the whole thing. This is why this is so intriguing. You really think they're gonna might win Week 1? Give me your reasons why, and I'm going to tell you why they don't. This is going to be pretty good. Go ahead.
The main reason that I think they win Week 1 is because I think they dominate the Bears on the ground. I really do. I really do think the Bears won't be able to stop the run against the Niners right away. New coach for the Bears. This is it's a new offense for that they're running in Chicago. The weapons. Listen, I know the Niners do not have great corners by any stretch, but the Bears receivers are by no means impressive when you look at them on
No,
paper.
with
It's arguably the weakest wide receiver core in their division, maybe even in the conference, Harry. I love Darnell Mooney. You know how much I love Darnell Mooney. I'm a Darnell
I
Mooney
have
homer. This
I
is
have no
as a
qualms
wide
with that
receiver one.
whatsoever.
As a wide receiver one, man, it's tough. And then the draft pick of Velus Jones, although I don't mind the player, you're drafting the guy. He's 24 now. AJ Brown is 24 now. Also, DK Metcalf is 24. Terry McLaurin's 24. It's a tough year to draft that guy. But I just think I honestly think it comes down to coaching. I do like the hire of Matt Eberflus. I really do, but I think it takes some time, as it does for most new coaches, to get meshed into this league as a head coach. And I think to go up against a guy like Shanahan Week 1 is kind of the worst case scenario for the Bears, unless you were playing the Packers. so I'll that's the only reason I'm taking the Niners in Week 1. But I do think
And you're supposed to, but the reason why I think this game might be a little bit different is because of the uncertainty and the unknowns. There's no tape on what Eberflus is going to do. They're not done in Chicago grabbing wide receivers or even the fact of even getting more offensive line help. But as far as the defense is concerned, I assure you they will do an extraordinary job stopping the run. The problem is, can the Niners go ahead and stop Chicago's run attack? Because it's going to be very vanilla in what they're going to do. And then you have the uncertainty and the unknown is what is Justin Fields going to be able to do? It's going to be they're not going to have any tape on him. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. My question is who do we think that was in the playoffs this year that's going to have a down year? And so far, I think are the LA Rams. And my biggest downfall that's not even going to win a division is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay,
okay.
they're going to struggle this year. Um, it's 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 just they're just not going to be as good. And I'm going to tell you the two teams that are going to really surprise some people. I'm not saying they're going to win their different divisions respectfully, but Chicago's not going to be as bad as what people are thinking. Okay. And the other team are going to be the New York Jets, not because you're a Jets fan, it's because they had the best draft. This team is in year 2 with this. I'll tell you right now, if they don't go 500 or better this year, your head coach is done. Done. Absolutely done. He's got the weapons. He's got an offensive line. He now has a running game. They have their franchise quarterback. Defensively, they're going to be mediocre at best. But that offense should be a lot better than what they were. I see that JC Allen is actually chiming in. And no, Joshua Coe Allen, I actually got some tan. It's just my camera's set up a little light.
Yeah. Here's my thing with the Jets, and I knew we were going to talk about the Jets at some point on this show, because obviously because it's me. But listen, okay. So I was touting. I'm all over this Jets team, and I agree. The Jets had the best draft in my opinion. And the Jets are thank you, Evan. I appreciate that comment.
And thank you, JC Allen.
Yes, thank you, JC Allen. Love when you tune in here. But the Jets, I don't think Saleh is done if they don't go 500 or better this year.
I do.
I really do not.
If they have a bad season this year, they should put his head on a platter and send him right out into the Atlantic. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Jets are going to finish 500 this year. I don't know if they make the playoffs, but they're going to have a really good run this year. Because you want to talk about a division that's nasty? Look at that. Look at that division.
I really do think that this is this Jets team is they really got it rough right now because you look at right. So they had the best draft, but they're also the golden rule is you give the coach 3 years, coach quarterback 3 years, right? Because Saleh came in with Zach Wilson's first year. Because all these guys that they drafted are rookies, they're still rookies, right? So even if the reality is if Zach Wilson is great, this team will be great. That's the reality because offense will score points. If the offense can score points, the team will win. That's the reality. But you have.
Whoa! Look at that comment. Wilson is not the answer. JC. Wow, that's strong.
Zach Wilson in year 2, right? Trying to take that step. You have Elijah Moore in year 2. You have Garrett Wilson in year 1, right? You have Sauce in year 1. You have Jermaine Johnson in year 1. You have you have all these guys. You do. And the Jets and this Jets team is, I agree, they are primed for a good season. The problem is you look at their schedule, and this is the main thing I wanted to go over with the Jets. Look at their schedule. They start off week 1 with the Ravens. Then they head into week 2 and they played the Cleveland Browns.
They could beat the Ravens.
They could. Listen, they absolutely could.
Let me tell you something. The Ravens are very beatable. I'm not sold. You want to talk about a quarterback that I've never really liked coming in the National Football League? It's Jackson. Sorry, I just haven't. I mean, he's to me he's too one-dimensional, and you can play against teams like that. Defensively, they're damn good, but let me tell you something. The Jets have something that is going to bring this entire division not to its knees, but they're going to have to really account for him. It's called a running back that they just got out of Iowa State. This kid is a beast. They have a 1-2 punch. If Zach Wilson doesn't feel like he's got to throw 40 and 50-yard bombs every single play, and I'm not trying to make this a Jets show, this team is really going to catch a lot of teams off guard because they have weapons on the outside and they have a really, really good running game. But
they have a great offensive. They have a great offensive line as well. They do.
I'm not going to go great. I'm going to say they're good.
This
team needs to gel together because if they were great, they would have made the playoffs. Great offensive lines, Jacob, make playoffs year in and year out. They do.
I don't know because this defense they were the worst. They were the single worst defense in the league last year. You have with Becton, we'll see. I think Becton, I really think it's not an issue. I think that's more of a media thing than it is anything else. He'll be on the team. You have George Fant, who had his best year in his career last year. You have Elijah Vera Tucker, who was one of the best rookie guards, if not the best rookie guard in the class last year. You have a serviceable center in Connor McGovern, and then you have an all-pro right guard in Lakeland Tomlinson, who just signed a free agency. So I think this team's doing pretty well on the line. But the issue. So Harry, you get the Ravens week 1, you get the Browns week 2. We have the Bengals week 3, and then the Steelers week 4. So the AFC North gauntlet to open up the season, followed by the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, then the Bills, then a bye week, and then the Patriots again. So it's a very, very tough opening 2 months for this Jets team. And their first and the problem is if this team opens up and let's say even goes 3-5 to open up the year, right? Then you get, the Lions, the Bears, and all those, which are winnable games, certainly. But, sometimes you don't win all the games you're supposed to. That's the reality. You don't win all the games you're supposed to. You also don't lose all the games you're supposed to. Oh, on top of that, sorry, week 5, they also get the Packers in there at some point, as well as the Broncos. So this is a very, very tough opening schedule for the Jets. And that's why I worry about this,
This team is going to surprise some players. Let's move on. This team is going to surprise some teams.
Sure. Another matchup I'm really looking forward to in this week 1 slate. Let's see. I'm looking forward to this Steelers-Bengals game. I am. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a fun game to watch because you get Mitch Trubisky, most likely being the
Is it
week 1
Trubisky
starter.
or is it going to be Pickens? Who's it going to be? JC, I want to see that comment in there. Who do you think is going to be the week 1 starter?
I think it'll be. I think it'll be Trubisky. I really do think it'll be Trubisky.
It's supposed to be Bisky. He is the better quarterback. He's most ready for him. This team is ready to win. They got good wide receivers. They got a decent running game. They got a really good offensive line. They got a defense that can play. And now you get Bisky. Come on, man. JC knows I'm a homer, though.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I like him. I like the Steelers. I don't know. The problem is mediocre quarterback play, right? Trubisky could be good, but not great, and this team won't win the division, because this division's pretty loaded. We don't know what Deshaun Watson's situation is going to be like either. He might get suspended. I really have zero idea what's going on there, or what the league plans to do with him. But the Bengals,
I can't believe there hasn't been more talk about the Deshaun Watson thing. Honestly, I just can't believe there hasn't been more talk about
it. Yeah. But the Bengals, like JC Allen commented, they are a prime candidate for a Super Bowl hangover. I still think this team is really good. I still think they're really talented. But you're going up. They really didn't fix up this offensive line too much, and that was their biggest problem. That was the reason they lost the Super Bowl last year. And now you're going up against arguably one of the best pass rushes in all of the NFL, with the Steelers, right? So honestly, I'm looking at this early. I'm liking the Steelers in this game, very, very early. But as we get closer to it, I think we'll obviously see what happens after they name their starting quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah. I like the Broncos Seahawks. I like the Monday Night Football matchup as well. The Broncos should blow out this team, but it'll be fun to see Russell Wilson take on his own.
Is it at the Seahawks?
It is at the Seahawks.
Wow, I like home underdogs, man. I absolutely love home underdogs. Not in this game, though.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a blowout.
I cannot approve this message.
Yeah, I don't think this one's really even close. I think they put it on there for the ratings, right? Russell Wilson in Seattle, but it should not be a close matchup. If it is, that's a bigger problem for the Broncos. Because the Seahawks are not. I don't think they'll be a good football team this year, man. I really don't. No. I think this is a team that wins maybe 4 or 5 games. What do you think?
Okay. I don't think they win that many games. I think this team could actually threaten to go winless this year.
Do you think they're really that bad?
I think they're going to be that bad, especially playing in that division.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room since we're sitting in that division. Man, we just keep bouncing around. We're like a basketball that we're passing to each other, but it never makes any sense. That's what I love about doing these shows with you sometimes, because we grab so much content from so many different things and just shove it all into 1 hour. What's going to happen with Kyler Murray?
He'll play.
Okay, but is he going to play under his is he going to get what he wants, or do you think that they're not going to concede and give it to him.
It's that's what he's kind of playing on a contract year right now. This year is going to be big for him if he can prove that he can win games, and he can. It's not about winning games, Harry. It's about winning playoff games. If this team, I think needs to make it to the if not the divisional round, then the NFC Championship. Or else I don't think Kyler Murray is going to get what he wants. I really don't. Because he hasn't been able to prove that he can. Right? Regular season wins mean nothing if you can't win in the playoffs. That's the reality. I don't care how many times you're going to get to the playoffs, year in, year out. It could be every year. If you can't make it past the first round, it doesn't matter. If you can't make it out of the wild card round, it literally means nothing. Yep. You know, you might as well not have even been there. No one remembers the Cowboys were in the playoffs. No one cares. You know why? They didn't win a game. They didn't win a game. No one remembers. The Raiders were in the playoffs last year. They lost to the Bengals. No one cares. No one cares about the Raiders. No one remembers them, right? They're coming in now. People are predicting they're not even going to win 7 games in this tough division, right?
And the Raiders had the best offseason there was in football.
Exactly.
I mean, they really did. Them and the Raiders and the Chargers did. Those two teams had the best offseason.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's insane to me that this is.
Because they continue to talk about one team in that division and one team only, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. The Chiefs play the Cardinals week 1. So I think the Chiefs are a team that wins their week 1 matchup. I do. I think they'll beat the Cardinals in week 1, right? DeAndre Hopkins out for, I think, 6 weeks after testing positive for performance enhancing drugs and saying that he didn't know that these were illegal.
Do you honestly think that any player's ever going to say, I knew exactly what I was putting in my body? You busted me, man.
One time
sorry.
they're going to be like, oh, sorry, my bad. You caught me. Whatever.
It's the same story every single time. And you know what? I want to believe the guy. But can't somebody come up with a different excuse just one time? Just like, damn, really? It had that in it? I've been taking that for the longest time. How come they didn't catch this 5 years ago? What? Put it back into the NFL. Do you know? I mean, because in all honesty, it's the truth. They've been using these same substances for years, and the NFL decided, okay, we're going to check for this now. And then it comes up. Put it up back on the NFL. I mean, the NFL is the one who's a disciplinarian. Why can't people mock the NFL?
Yeah. Yeah, the Chiefs, I think, are gonna. But the reality is, I think this Chiefs team beats the Cardinals week 1. The Chiefs are still a good football team, even without Tyreek Hill. I really think they are. They get whoever let them get Sky Moore in the second round. That was the guy I had them take in the first. And they, on top of that, they also get George Karlaftis, and they get Trent McDuffie, and they get Sky Moore.
Hold on, they drafted the Greek.
Yeah, they did. They did draft the Karlaftis is Greek. But they also get Sky Moore, and this team is going to be locked and loaded again to be in the playoffs.
Jacob, who do the Bucs play in week 1 again? Is it the Cowboys?
Yeah, they play the Cowboys. I think they win that game.
Again. They play the Cowboys again, back-to-back years.
Again.
Wow.
I think this game isn't as close as last year's was, though.
No. Hi, Tony. Thanks for listening in today. Great to listen to you guys this morning. The Bears will do a lot more than you think. I totally agree with you, Tony. I think they're going to be a lot better than what people are going to give them credit for. Not because of the talent. It's because of the uncertainty of what they're not going to see. Now, if this team gets better as the year goes on, that's going to be a different story. But I don't think they're done trying to pick up players.
But what's better than what we're going to think? What would you count that as? What would you count a good season for the Bears as this year?
Look, man, they have an extraordinary running game. And Eberflus is going to play defense, and he's going to run the football. Okay? When you do that, you're always in football games. You can't put it in Justin Fields' hands this year because they don't have the wide receivers because of the uncertainty. Look, Darnell Mooney, who I really love, he's not a wide receiver 1. Listen, people, he's not a WR1. Okay? He's going to be their wide receiver 1 because unless they go out and get somebody, that's the only problem. And if you're thinking that Brian Pringle, I really liked him. But are you kidding me? The guy doesn't even have a God-blessed driver's license, and he's going to act the fool down here 2 counties away from me here in the state of Florida and get himself arrested. He may not even see the field this year. because of the suspension that's going to ensue from there. There's a lot of problems in Chicago regarding that, but they are going to be better because of the uncertainty and no tape on this team. And they better have a really good offseason, and they better pick up some players to support Justin Fields, because so far they've done none of it. None of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Well, that sounded like I was talking out of both sides of my mouth. I was
no,
mad and
but
happy. I'm talking from a coaching standpoint, they're going to be better because they
I
don't
want
have tape on this team.
I want a win number here. What win number do you think would be better than what people expect for the Bears?
Look, there's people, and there's actually a couple of pundits out there that actually picked this team to be the surprise team in this division and win it. And I'm looking at them going, I don't know what crack pipe they picked up, because they're not that good. I mean, you're still dealing with the Green Bay Packers in this division, even after losing Devontae Adams. And now you have the Minnesota Vikings, who everybody has crowned them. Oh, they're the team that's going to beat them. They sucked last year too, and I'm not expecting anything different this year. Their defense is going to be a little bit better. What do I predict the Chicago Bears will be? I would really like you to ask me that question after the first 4 games of this season, because if they can finish 500 after those first 4 games, this team could finish just over 500. If they don't, they'll be lucky to be a 4-win team. But I have this team being 9 wins.
All right. All right. That's a lot, but
If
sure.
they finish 500, this is very key that in the first 4 games, I don't see how they do it, but I do see them beating the 49ers in the first game.
All right. All right. I'm gonna ask you about this narrative that's been in the media for the last couple weeks. So after the Titans drafted Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill was asked about mentoring him, and Ryan Tannehill said that it's not his job to mentor Malik Willis, and it's not a priority of his. It's not his job to do it. Do you think that these veteran quarterbacks who are on a team that drafts a rookie, in second, third, even the first round, do you think that it is their job to mentor these quarterbacks? Do you think that Ryan Tannehill right now has a very selfish way of thinking that shouldn't be used in today's NFL? Or do you think that Tannehill should he it's not his job, right? Why would he want to? Why would he want to mentor a guy who's competing for his job? What do you think in there?
You know what? That's a great question. I was waiting for you to ask that, because that kind of been bothering me, and I have my own thoughts about that. I mean, if you think about some of the great quarterbacks that ever play this game, such as Brett Favre, he didn't want anything to do with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the same way. How about Tom Brady, the GOAT? He's the most pompous individual you'll ever find playing this particular position. He doesn't want to mentor anybody, but he will mentor his wide receivers because they make him better. But as far as mentoring a quarterback, no. So what's the problem with this? Where am I going? Ryan Tannehill, you're not any one of those 3 quarterbacks that I mentioned. You're supposed to be a team player. Now, forgive me. I am not a man who's ever going to tell somebody how to spend their money, how to love somebody, or what they feel about something. We don't have the right to tell somebody how to feel. We don't have the right to tell Ryan Tannehill how to feel and what he should do to mentor somebody. With that being said, that's on the Tennessee organization. He's not good enough to dictate to his boss, which are the Tennessee Titans, what he's going to do. So, if the general manager and the coaching staff says you will mentor this particular player, you better do it, because you know what? You don't have that muscle like the other 3 quarterbacks I said, who could get away with those comments. So, with that being said, he better mentor him, because it's going to cause a lot of waves in Tennessee, and they'll be clamoring for this kid Malik Willis to start a lot sooner than what he's supposed to, even though he's not ready. What's your thought on what I said?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Ryan Tannehill, I think that that's a very selfish way of thinking for Tannehill, because Tannehill obviously last year did not play very well. He had his career year 2 years ago, but last year the reality was he didn't play very well at all. Especially in that playoff game, it was rough, it was bad. And Tannehill, his career, he has not been great. That's the reality. I know he's been in some really, really bad offenses, but he hasn't been great his whole career. He had one really, really good year. I'll say 1.25 because that playoff run was ridiculous. But come on.
But do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you really think Ryan Tannehill is going to tell his coach, his head football coach, or the general manager, or the president of operations, no, I'm not going to mentor somebody?
I mean,
You know what? Because if you think about it, he was without a job not too long ago, wasn't he?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. You got a couple of comments in here. Tony Williams says, "My thoughts exactly. I was thinking about the Bear 9 or 10 wins. That's stretching it. Can they possibly? But they better have a good start to the season." Evan, are you worried about the Bucks' first 4 game start?
Let
Some say they can go 0-4. Thoughts, Jacob? I'll let you take this. I'll finish it.
me look at the Bucs schedule here. So they get the Cowboys, the Saints, the Packers, and the Chiefs. I mean, listen, you absolutely that's a worrisome start for this team.
This team can go 4-0.
They could go 4-0. They
They're
could also
they're
go on
they're
4.
that good.
The reality is, I think they go 2-2. I think that's how they start off the year.
Well, this is why I think this team can start out 4-0. It's because, again, it's the Chicago effect. And I'm not trying to compare the two teams, but I'm going to make a similar parallel here. It's the uncertainty of the head coach. I can assure you of one thing: you're not going to be passing the ball 40 times a game unless you're behind. They have a running game. Trust me. Their head coach is going to run the football and play defense. Tom Brady is going to sit back there when he has to throw the ball. He will find a lot of wide open wide receivers because the days of the risk it, no biscuit, that shit's done. That's out the window. There's no more risk it, no biscuit here in Tampa Bay. That's in the main office. I don't care if Byron Leftwich is your offensive coordinator. Your head coach is different. He is a defensive guy and a guy that's going to run the football and throw the ball when you have to.
Yeah,
Your thoughts, Jacob?
yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I I don't know.
And
This
by
is
the way, pardon my French. I don't normally curse on the show, but I'm so tired of seeing this risk it, no biscuit crap. It's not even funny. The Buccaneers could have won the Super Bowl again if they didn't have that mentality.
yeah. I think this team. I think they start off 2-2. It won't be extreme. It won't be 4-0 or 0-4. I think it'll be somewhere in the 3-1, 2-2, 1-3 range. It's certainly possible. You know, they play the Saints. Saints have been their kryptonite. They play the Packers.
The Saints got pretty damn good pretty quick too, didn't
So
they?
we'll talk. I want to talk about them in just a second. I have that actually in my notes here. But this Bucks team, I don't know. This is a team that I think is going to fluctuate on the scale of how well they play. They lost some good defensive pieces. They did. They lost Jason Pierre-Paul. They lost Jordan Whitehead.
Jason Pierre-Paul over the hill. Didn't do that much last year. Jordan Whitehead, damn good player. They're going to miss him. Who's the next one?
They lost. Didn't they lose one of their interior guys? They lost somebody.
I don't know, and I don't know if Ndamukong Suh is going to be re-signed or not. But then again,
That
there's
was
a
who I was
lot of
talking about.
speculation. There's a lot of interior linemen that are looking to come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for that Brady effect thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. And they play the Packers. The Packers are still a damn good football team defensively. They are. And then the Chiefs.
No Devontae Adams, brother. Just keep
but
keep
still,
remembering that.
that's still
No
on defense.
Devontae
Though.
Adams.
This team defensively is still really, really good, Harry. This Packers team.
Yeah, especially with the draft that they just had with the two Georgia boys.
It.
Oh my Lord. They are going to be really good for a long time defensively.
They killed it. But yeah. So I listen, I think that Aaron Rodgers will make Christian Watson better. I think that he'll elevate his possible star power. And if there's anywhere you want to go if you're a receiver, you want to go be the wide receiver one playing for Aaron Rodgers. I think that that's a great place to be if you're Christian Watson.
I agree.
But this Bucks team, I don't know. Am I worried about the Bucks' first 4-game start? Yeah, a little bit because they play some good teams. But I want to talk about the Saints to wrap this thing up because this Saints team is one that they're really good. I really still think that they are super talented. They lost some offensive line pieces, but they got him back in Trevor Penning. They draft Trevor Penning, and now they have a receiver room that consists of Michael Thomas, who's returning. I don't think he'll be asked to do a lot. I really don't. You have Chris Olave, one of the best receivers in the draft, one of the best receivers in the draft, one of the best deep threats in this draft out of Ohio State. Perfect for Jameis Winston's arm. And they just signed Jarvis Landry yesterday. And that deal is through. So is that receiver core and this running back with the Alvin Kamara backfield and Trevor Penning to build up this offensive line, still a really solid offensive line there. And obviously defensively, they add a Marcus May. You still have Cam Jordan. You still have Demario Davis. And you still have some really good corners and interior pieces. Is this team still good enough to win this division with Jameis Winston? I think 110% yes.
They can definitely. There's made some really, really valid points, and you were right. I'm going to talk about when you said something about the slant master himself, Mr. Michael Thomas. Again, this is not Drew Brees throwing him the football. So what are the comparisons? There are none between Drew Brees and Jameis Winston. The question is, can Jameis Winston do two things? Limit the amount of deep passes that he wants to throw on a continuous basis, because he had the propensity to want to look downfield all the time. If he can throw that short to intermediate passes to a Michael Thomas, that will set up a lot of good things for Olave. And I'll tell you what, you're absolutely correct. And don't forget, they got a hell of a running back in the backfield, Alvin Kamara, who can not only run the ball, but he can also catch the ball in the backfield and run all over the place. And I believe he's still on the team, and nobody's talking about this kid. But I'll tell you what, the New Orleans Saints, last year, I had them on a serious, serious decline. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. This team can still win a lot of football games, and they got really good really quick. And I'll tell you what, Jameis Winston has something to prove, especially coming off that knee injury. And to
Dude, he
answer,
played well last year, man. This
yes, he
team
did.
was what 5-2 with him, 6-2 with
Yep.
him playing last year
And
before he
and
tore his
and
ACL.
and to answer my own question, I think he has learned. I don't think he has to go deep on every single play. Okay. It's not what he has to do. And he knows that. He knows that he can win this game and he can be very competitive, taking small chunks of yardage, especially coming out of the backfield and utilizing the skill set that a Michael Thomas has. Because let me tell you something, when Michael Thomas is on his game, he's one of the best at catching short to intermediate passes that I've seen in many a years.
Yeah, 110%. And Jameis Winston was not, he wasn't bad with he didn't have bad decision making last year.
Nope.
He actually was really good with his decision making when he was playing. He wasn't chucking those balls deep. He was throwing the deep ball. He was throwing it well, but he wasn't chucking the ball. He wasn't forcing anything. He was making the passes he needed to make. He was getting first downs, and
That's
he beat the
that
Bucs.
was the prob that was the problem with the risk it, no biscuit system. Jameis Winston could not succeed. But then again, in any Bruce Arians offense. And again, I'm not trying to pound down on Bruce Arians, okay? And I didn't mean to get off the subject, but not one quarterback has ever had a successful year one under Bruce Arians. Not one. It always taken a couple of years. Not because of the complexity of the offense, it's because of the riskiness of that offense. Because you know what? The average quarterback's not throwing the ball 40 times a game, and half the passes are going past 20 yards.
Yeah, and well,
Nobody's used to
yeah,
it.
you're right. I mean, the reality is Brady's not the average quarterback. That's what it is. And Brady also wasn't necessary. Brady also definitely had some say in what this offense was looking like, probably as much as
With
Bruce Arians did. So
Without question, but Bruce Arians, I mean, hey, hold on, man. There's still some truth. And again, where people always try to, especially down here, they're trying to put the fires out. Was there really a rift between Arians and Brady? Did it really happen? Yes, it happened. Of course it did. You can try to put out those fires as much as you want. The bottom line is this: Tom Brady was a student of the game, and he still is a student of the game. He'll get into the locker rooms at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning with his OC, and you spend hours putting a game plan together just so your head coach can come up and go, I don't like that idea. We're just going to do it this way. Are you kidding me?
yeah, no, I agree. I 100% agree with you. This is, the riff was there, and but it doesn't matter because he's gone. So
Yes, he is.
he's in the front office now. Doesn't
Oh,
matter.
but all is better because Tom Brady said it was okay. I bought him a watch. Are you
I can't tell if I froze or not. if I froze, then I hope Harry's still talking here. But let's see. Oh no, it is me. It's Harry. Harry froze. Okay, so we'll see when Harry comes back. But listen, I a lot of fun week one. The week one slate looks super exciting. If Harry, it doesn't look. I mean, either way, we're the show's about to be over. But Harry will. He'll be back, I'm sure. If not, be sure to check him out everywhere. Hopefully, he'll jump back in quickly. I saw he left. He's going to come back. Be sure to check him out everywhere. The over-under on Friday nights. It's always a ton of fun. Be sure to check that out everywhere. But yeah, a lot of fun week one stuff, a lot of fun stuff. But we're going to wrap this thing up today from the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Charnow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Special thanks to Harry the Greek for coming on. Like I said, be sure to check him out everywhere. Go follow me on Twitter at Jacob Charnow, Instagram at Hard Count Football. Subscribe to Hard Count Football on YouTube and check out all the other shows from 1252 Sports Chicago. I'm super excited for week one. This slate looks awesome. The schedule release, I'm super excited. I'm sure you're excited no matter what your favorite team is. And so we have, 4 months to talk about it every single Sunday, right here on the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. So with that being said, I'll see you all next Sunday morning.